Hey everybody, welcome back into the Mosh Pit. I'm on Dustin, and we're back here at the decision that we had to backtrack because we died. Valeria did not like foot rubs, so I'm thinking that she's going to want to be taken somewhere in the world. She's maybe wanting to gallivant around, be shown a good time. The only thing is, she might also like a story to be written about her, so I don't know. I'm going to try that one first and we'll see how it goes. I'd take you anywhere in the world. I want to take you anywhere, everywhere. We'll travel the world. Her eyes light up at the prospect, and she doesn't even try to hide her apparent eagerness. I chose right. I hold myself back from launching into a poorly timed rendition of a new world. A whole new world. A whole new world. A whole new darker side of you. But only just. Oh, I haven't traveled in so long. We used to go everywhere we pleased, do whatever we wanted, eat whoever we could sink our teeth into. She sighs wistfully.
I miss killing people in different countries. Americans have come to taste so bland. My palate isn't as refined as it used to be.
I can fix that. I know where all the tasty humans hang out. Valeria smirks and I feel my heart do a little lurch in my chest. Out of fear, arousal? Either is possible. All these questions, all this incessant prodding. This is either the weirdest job interview I've ever had, or I've had, or the best speed dating session I have ever been to. I can't tell if I like it or love it. Before they pump me up for more information. Or pump me up. I want to pump you up. There's something I'm desperate to ask about. Powers and abilities. I know they have them. I want to know it all. If I'm potentially going to be a vampire by the end of the night, I should be well informed about what my new body will be capable of. I want to know all about the cool vampire shit you can do.
Interesting priorities.
Sucker.
Though it's a fair question.
So we went through this question previously, so I'm making strides. I suppose the ability to see threads of truth you mortals can't.
The added benefit of near-miraculous strength has its perks, but being a walking polygraph makes living in the shadows of humanity that much more entertaining.
I bet.
It's hard to choose one thing.
He runs his hand through his hair like a male model in a perfume ad as he contemplates his response.
I'm basically good at everything. But if I've got to pick just one, sharpened senses. I can hear a mouse's heartbeat at the other end of the house.
Yeah, we heard
I
that.
could smell you before you even set foot in here.
Am
Well,
I gonna die?
Being young and beautiful forever certainly has its perks, but if I simply had to choose one thing, I'd say that I quite enjoy thralling people. There's something inherently satisfying about bending people's will before ripping their throat out. You know, there's an art to it.
Okay, well, those were all mildly terrifying. That all sounds incredibly cool and fun. The three of them look very pleased with themselves. It's getting late, or early, and I feel the anxiety pangs in my chest as they stare at me with thinly veiled impatience or judgment. I can't quite tell. My quick-firing brain is telling me that they're talking about me telepathically or something. The silence is deadly. I've pleaded my case for long enough, and I can't really stand to wait around them anymore. It's time. So, did I pass the test? Laurel laps their long fingernails against their chin in contemplation. I have one last question for you, sucker.
Call me curious, but if you had to choose one of us to be your sire, who would you pick?
Clearly, there's only one correct choice.
Yes, no pressure. This has to be a trap. There's no way this isn't. If I choose one, will the others pounce on me? If I don't choose, will I die regardless? Even if it's a scheme to get their fangs in my throat, I have no choice but to answer. Okay, so we saved here previously. I'm going to save again because it's different. We made some different choices. And I'm going to choose Valeria. I don't even hesitate. It's Valeria. Beautiful, hot-headed Valeria. Valeria, there's nothing I want more than for you to be my sire. Valeria cocks a perfect eyebrow and offers me a devilish, if not a little self-satisfied smirk.
Well, is that your final answer?
Yes, I'm positive.
Your taste is impeccable, you know.
I feel my cheeks heating, and I avert my gaze from her prying eyes. So,
Have some patience, kitten. This is an important decision.
Oh, geez, okay. Calm down. However, I'm satisfied with your choice. For now.
You've made it past step 1. Congratulations.
Entered Valeria's lair achievement. You almost sound impressed.
Oh.
No. This was the easy part. What comes next might not be such a walk in the park.
But you're past the point of no return. Are you truly ready?
Can you ever be? I am. Valeria reaches out her hand. Good. Now come. As I press my palm against hers, I do my best to contain my excitement about being chosen. I can't help but think about what the hell is going to happen next. Part 3, huh? Valeria. A little bit of the ultra-violence. Not milk in this one. She leads me into a room with our fingers entwined, laced together like lovers. It's strangely intimate, maybe too intimate for almost strangers, but then I remember that it's not like this evening could possibly get any weirder. You don't think? Well, there's drawings on the wall, we got some sketches, we got the cat, and Dennis over here. There's a whip, and handcuffs. I don't know what this says over here. Dracula, maybe? Some blood in a goblet. Alright. I will hold hands with the crazy hot vampire, and I will not overthink it. It's easy to forget how cold her skin is when her eyes are trained upon me in the way that they are right now. Like if I make one wrong move, she'll snap me in two. The thought alone is enough to thaw the chill. Snapping can be sexy. That thought alone is enough to... Wait, snapping can be sexy sometimes.
Well, here you have it. Where the magic happens.
I laugh, sharp and quick, and she frowns, her brow quirked. I quickly realize that maybe that wasn't a Cribs reference, and she just saying that sincerely. Shame. She strikes me as the type to enjoy mocking celebrities for their bad taste in furnishings. Maybe if she decides not to rip my throat out, I can enlighten her about the joys of reality television. She releases me and I take in my surroundings, observing the little personal touches strewn around the room, hoping I can gather some insight into the kind of vampire she is. Ask about the handcuffs. Before I can think to control where my gaze lands, I am immediately drawn to a shiny gold object upon her bedside table. Handcuffs. Fancy ones. Those are nice. Valeria follows my line of sight and grins. You like those?
If you're a good little kitten, maybe I'll let you play with them. Would you like that?
Maybe. I'm not interested in sex. Fuck yes. There we go. Oh shit, I should have saved right there. I once again cannot control my expression that crosses my face. If I could put a name to it, I would say unadulterated horniness. Oh fuck yes I would. Valeria bites her bottom lip, her head tilted slightly. An eager little beaver. I can work with that. Maybe I'm just asking about things. We should probably do a save though, just in case. Just in case. Let's do a save. Is that a copy of Dracula by Bram Stoker? Is that a copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula on their nightstand? It is, yes. A wonderful little story. Did you that know I'm in it? Did you that know I'm in? Did you know that I'm in that? What? She preens, staring down at her blunt nails. I think she's trying her hardest to look indifferent, but her smug face is giving her away horribly.
Yes. Brammy Bear was such a wonderful house guest. Very polite.
Brahmy Bear, huh? Brahmy Bear stayed with Dracula at his castle to write Dracula.
Darling, did you really think that human just plucked all of that out of thin air? Don't be silly now.
Does that mean Frankenstein's monster is real? The Wolfman? Van Helsing? Valeria makes a noise of pure disgust when I mention Mr. Van Helsing.
We don't say his name in this household.
Oh, jeez. Oh, he who must not be named. She takes an angry little step forward and prods her pointier finger into my shoulder.
Frankie was a terrible conversationalist, and The Wolfman was a shitty movie. Also, you're really asking me about those morons when I'm standing right here. I've literally had Dracula inside me.
Okay, but the Van Helsing... Yeah, that's it. Apologize and change the subject. We're doing that one. My self-preservation senses started tingling quite aggressively. Clearly, this is not a subject I should be pushing if I want a sweet, sweet immortality. I'm sorry, you're right. He sucks. Who has the audacity to make a living out of killing vampires? Valeria seems to relax a little, the look on her face, now one of indignance rather than pure, unfettered murder rage.
Right. I mean, we are clearly superior.
I nod enthusiastically and pray I have placated her. Alright, nasty Dennis. What about the cat? Spot a copy of the delightful portrait of the terrifying, elusive, nasty Dennis sitting pride of place on her dresser. You must really love Dennis.
That's nasty Dennis to you, human. Show some respect.
Gotta respect the pussy.
And love is such a strong word. He's a bastard and a devil, and he has ruined so many of my beautiful clothes that I've lost count.
But he's my bastard. I'd love to meet him one day. She narrows her eyes at me like she's trying to decide if I'm worthy.
You do not meet Nasty Dennis. Nasty Dennis meets you.
Wow, that's super ominous. With a sigh, she comes closer, grabbing my hand again. Come on now, don't be shy. Take a seat and make yourself comfortable. Valeria smiles and guides me over to the plush bed, our joined hands held high between us, as if she's about to spin me into a pirouette. With very little effort, she shoves at my shoulder and I land upon the mattress with a quiet oof. She leans in close and breathes me in, her fingertips bunching in front of my shirt. Her breath is cool when her lips graze the shell of my ear, her low voice and teasing.
Your heart is so very loud, like wings beating against a cage. Are you scared, little bird?
A little bit. Alright, let's do a save. Should I be? I swallow my wet lips and wet my lips, trying to compose myself and at least attempt to form a coherent sentence. Should I be? Valeria chuckles, and it's decidedly wicked noise. My skin prickles, hair standing on end.
That depends on just how much you're looking forward to dying tonight.
I can't help the laugh that escapes me. The nervous little sound would almost be embarrassing if I had the ability to focus on anything other than Valeria right now. She raises one of those perfect brows at me, her lips curling at the corners as she zeroes in and advances on her prey. That wasn't an answer, sweet thing. The mattress dips as she presses a knee upon it, right between my thighs, nudging them apart. The long, cold fingers that still rest upon my chest curl tightly in the fabric of my shirt, and she follows me down, her full mouth a mere inch away from my own, as she tilts her head in question. I wanna be like you, hoo-hoo. Do whatever you want with me. You can do whatever you want with me. I've already surrendered. Valeria pauses and almost looks disappointed.
Oh.
Surrendered? How dull. She pulls away slightly, looking a bit disappointed and putting some room between us, but not enough that my rabbit-quick heart chills the fuck out. Note to self, refrain from using language that could be construed as desperate to avoid metaphorical vampire boner kill shots.
Is there truly no fire left in you? Don't you want to go out with a bang?
Giggity. I can't help smiling, and she almost smiles back. I can't, almost. So you want me to struggle? To beg you? Either would be nice. Both, maybe.
But I'm not, Ilias. I have no need for theatrics. I already have you in my clutches.
She grabs my chin, tipping my head so that she can get a better look at my throat. Or so I assume, if the way her red eyes flash when her gaze momentarily falls to my exposed jugular is any indicator.
The question is, do I want to let you stick around, or Am I just going to drain you dry and be done with you? So, tell me, why are you worthy of me bestowing such a precious gift upon you?
Valeria pulls back until she's far away enough for me to get a proper look at her, all of her. I let my eyes roam her form, from her shiny raven hair to the way the dress clings to every dangerous inch of her body. I feel my cheeks heating, and I idly wonder if spontaneous human combustion really is just a myth.
Ugh.
Valeria tuts loudly and flicks me on the forehead before she grabs my chin, yanking my head up, so I have no choice but to make eye contact. My face is up here, pervert. Her words are sharp, but she's smirking and looking entirely too pleased with herself. She clearly enjoys being admired. That I can work with. Can't help it. You're beautiful.
I'm aware. Now cut the shit and tell me why I shouldn't drain you dry and bury you underneath the hydrangeas.
Because hydrangeas are a pain in the ass, and you definitely don't want to dig one of those fucking things up just to put a body under it. Alright, let's do a save. I'll be loyal to you. I never wanted anything more. Because why not? Because I've never wanted anything more than I want this. Valeria's brows pinch together and she grips my chin a little harder, tipping my head this way and that. Desperation isn't attractive. I manage to squeeze my words out, despite the way her fingers grip me and dig into my cheeks. It's not desperation. She crinkles her nose.
Well, it smells like it. Stinks of it, actually.
Uh-oh. Hey, I don't smell. Valeria smiles and my whole body shivers. She releases me slowly, my cheeks aching from where she had held me so tightly, and she steps away from the bed to lean against her dresser. I sit up quickly, gathering what's left of my wits, and try to be cool. This new distance between us tells me she's giving me a chance, maybe an interview of sorts. I'm fucking great at interviews. So after your little interrogation of us out there, you might want to learn more about me. She stares at her nails, trying to seem uninterested, something I'm coming to learn she's actually pretty shit at. It's weirdly endearing. You can ask me whatever you like, I suppose. If Valeria likes to talk, I can go for hours. Tell me about how you met Laurel and Ilias. You seem like an interesting group. She scoffs.
Oh, you mean horribly mismatched and frankly fucking bizarre. I agree, but it works.
She takes a deep breath and gets that look again, the one she had in the lounge when she launched into one of her stories.
For Illy, I was living in London in 1901, just minding my own business. You know, being only mildly nefarious, but keeping a low profile.
I nod when she looks to me, like she's trying to check that I'm following. As you do.
I would feed just enough to keep myself sated. I didn't want to overindulge in a city I didn't know. Our kind rule Romania. But London is different. More controlled.
The British are like that. She crinkles her nose in disgust briefly before waving it off. I pointedly ignore her very obvious, very British accent.
I was still mourning the loss of my life and my station back home. But I made sure that I took enough money from my husband to keep me comfortable for decades. I wasn't about to give up the luxuries I'd become so accustomed to. Then I heard about the murders that had started to plague the city. They were horribly messy, throats ripped out, limbs and organs missing. Certainly not the work of a pathetic human. I was enamored immediately upon viewing one of the crime scenes. I knew it wasn't purposeful, that whoever had done it was simply a feral fucking animal, but to me, it was art. The pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood didn't have shit on him.
She smiles unabashedly fond in the same way someone might be if they were talking about their significant other or buying them a diamond ring.
Only a specific kind of monster could make such a beautiful mess.
I shift uncomfortably and Valeria notices. She narrows her eyes at me, then smirks, terrifying, if not mildly alluring. What the fuck is wrong with me?
I found him eventually. He made it easy for me, of course. He was a disaster waiting to happen. The kind of gorgeous idiot that would get our kind called from the city by the hunters if he carried on.
You big dumb idiot.
When I laid eyes upon him, I knew I had to have him. The moment he curled his fingers around my throat, I think I fell in love.
She sighs dreamily, once again looking besotted. She likes... like she's recounting a fairy tale rather than whatever the hell kind of horror story this is.
I told him I would help him, and teach him how to live like a vampire is expected to. I didn't think he'd be interested, but it didn't take long to convince him.
How exactly did you convince him? Her tongue flicks out to wet her plump bottom lip. It's easy to notice how dark her eyes get, even with the distance between us.
I showed him what he could have, if he listened to me like a good boy.
I stare at her blankly and she huffs, flicking me on the forehead. Ow! I fucked his brains out, silly goose. Ah, of course. I feel my cheeks heating. Figures he'd be easily subdued with that.
He is a man who enjoys the simple pleasures in life. Fucking, fighting, feeding.
The three
That's
Fs.
what I like about him the most. That and his huge...
An involuntary squeak lifts my mouth. Valeria looks at me like she's contemplating foregoing story time to skip straight to murder time.
I was going to say big personality. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Sucker. I simply do not believe you. She purses her lips, clearly trying to stifle a smile. And Laurel, when did they come into the picture? Valeria chuckles.
Laurel happened a little later. Illy and I had stayed in London for a few decades, and we grew tired of it.
He's a restless thing, and I was getting bored of cleaning up the bodies he flooded the city with, so I proposed that we travel a little, see the world. It's hard for our kind, but especially so back then. She curls her lip in disgust as if she's remembering a particularly unpleasant memory.
We'd traveled by boat, all cooped up in wooden crates like animals when the sun was out. Though we did have fun come nightfall. Oh, sailors are very tasty, you know. Salty. Plus, it was terribly convenient to get rid of bodies when you're crossing the ocean. Just plop, right into the sea. Bye-bye.
I feel a bit sadistic when I laugh, but somehow she makes even dumping dead bodies sound charming. That's convenient for sure. She narrows her eyes at me. I feel dumb for forgetting the murderous vampire does not like to be interrupted.
We drifted around America for a while. Found ourselves in New Orleans. I hadn't seen a place with so many of our kind since I left Romania. It was wonderful. But then that big brainless meat monster couldn't keep his fangs in his fucking mouth.
She sighs wistfully again, her gentle tone not quite matching her biting words.
We caused chaos. The streets ran red with the blood of our victims. It was pure bliss. And then shit got weird.
A little bit of the voodoo that you do? Weird like how?
Like Laurel weird. Illy and I started feeling strange, like something was whispering in our ear and telling us to do and feel illicit things.
More illicit than murdering hundreds of people?
Firstly, thousands of people. Fuck you very much.
No judging. She looks to the side as if she's actually thoughtfully contemplating her response. Incredible.
Illicit by your feeble human definition? Yes, I suppose. But I'd been living life of my own volition for long enough that I'd forgotten what it felt like to be controlled.
Controlled. She bites her bottom lip and hums in agreement. Laurel is gifted like that, and I am, but in a very different way. I can manipulate the mind and make you see things that aren't real, but Laurel, she can manipulate emotions, really worm his way into your brain. They mess around in there until you don't know which way is up. I've never felt anything quite like it. Ilias and I were so overwhelmed with pleasure one night that we fucked right there in the square in front of the humans. In hindsight, we should have charged. It was quite the show. Oh, charged money. Oh my god. Her laugh is smug and dirty.
Unbeknownst to us, Laurel was watching, and I think he decided that we'd been taught our lesson for messing up their pretty little home. No one, mortal or immortal, is immune to me.
I swallow loudly. I can't exactly disagree.
They came out of hiding to introduce themselves, and the rest is history. And here we are, centuries later, living in a 3-bed in Portland with a leaky attic.
Man, you gotta hate it when it leaks in Portland.
It's not exactly the life I pictured for us, but it's ours. The world changed in ways we couldn't have anticipated. It's harder for us now, despite humanity being more akin to cattle these days.
Can't disagree with that.
But the point is that they and I fit together beautifully, especially when it comes to Laurel and I terrorizing Illy, the poor thing. They've taught me so much when I thought I knew it all.
About terror? She points at me threateningly.
Tell him that, and you're dead, though.
Noted. But that's kind of romantic. A vampire love story for the ages. It's novel-worthy. Her glare is cutting. If you say so. I do, as a writer nonetheless. She really is bad at hiding her feelings.
So, did that satisfy you? Any more questions about my sordid escapades?
Let's do a save real quick. Ask her about her abilities. Ask her about her vampire bonds. What's it like living in the modern world? Yeah, how about that one? I think about her leaky attic comment and all the weird, wonderful, and frankly fucking terrifying adventures that she's been on. Can't help but wonder, how the hell did you end up here in Portland? She looks a little taken back at first, but her expression quickly softens into something akin to understanding. Well, like I said, things didn't exactly work out the way I'd planned. The way any of us planned, I suppose.
It's precarious being a vampire in this day and age. The court dictates that we have to adhere to their silly, archaic rules and lay low. Otherwise, we'll be eliminated.
The court. Are we talking about an overarching vampire ruling society? She punctuates the end of her sentence with some pretty sarcastic air quotes. Wait. The court. Is in a vampire court? Valeria doesn't exactly seem pleased with my interest in this particular subject. Clearly it's a sore one.
Yes, a vampire court. Don't get too horny over the idea. It's far less glamorous than it sounds. They're the bane of our fucking existence, I'll have you know. Bureaucracy is soul-crushing, regardless of if you actually have a soul.
I can feel the annoyance rolling off her in waves, and I'm not sure if I have the guts to poke her about it and witness another of her brain-shaking tantrums. But my eye is twitching at the prospect of there being a whole entire vampire court in my hometown. Clearly, I'm doing a bad job at hiding it because she's narrowing her eyes at me. What is wrong with you? She scoffs loudly, her teeth bared. I've been caught. Oh, for fuck's sake. You are horny over it, aren't you? I offer a sympathetic grin. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the fact that they've been here, that you've been here, existing among us this whole time. You can cut me some slack there, alright?
You spend too much time on the internet, kitten.
That's for damn sure.
I can assure you, it isn't anything like you've seen in your little movies or your silly books. It's sterile and boring. They exist solely to make our lives hell and keep us in line.
Which we don't take kindly to, as I am sure you can guess. Keep you in line? How? You're so strong and powerful. And stubborn, I want to say, but I quite like my head being attached to my body.
Oh, sweet of you. But despite how incredibly powerful the three of us are, there are, unfortunately, far older, far scarier vampires than us out in the big bad world.
I'm sure you know better than anyone that you can't get away with much without it ending up on Twatter these days. It's twit. I said what I said. Can you imagine one of us getting caught feeding, killing? That shit would go viral fast. I can't exactly disagree.
The world is garbage and full of garbage people. Even creatures like us have evil overlords who want to control us.
She pauses for a moment and then she grins. It's a bit unnerving. It's not slightly arousing, if not slightly arousing. Though the court is no match for Laurel, I'm pretty sure they've been plotting their downfall for decades. From the little interaction I've had with Laurel, I think to myself they'll probably need to succeed. Let's do the bonds. I know somewhat about the abilities. So how exactly does it work, the three of you? I know you said humans get your kind wrong, but do you have mates? Or are you just the same as us? She laughs, quick, sharp bark.
Same as us. That's cute. We might be soulless, and our hearts may not beat, but we are still capable of love. Even if that love is different from how a human might experience it.
She pauses and purses her lips, her gaze lifting to the ceiling. I suspect she's trying to find the right words to explain so that my tiny human brain understands.
Our ability to love and care for each other is vast, despite all of our darker aspects. A lot of us are nomadic because we have to be. So finding partners who you tolerate enough to spend centuries with isn't something that comes easily.
I snort at the tolerate part and Valeria bristles. Valeria bristles, but she's smirking.
Yes, tolerate. Believe it or not, we are actually quite fond of each other.
I can tell. I just wonder what it's like to be wanted like that. She observes me with a tilted head, her eyes unnervingly bright in the din. She's sizing me up again, but it feels decidedly less murderous this time.
Vampires are driven by their instincts. We feed and fuck and fight, and there's little room for much else. Fucking and fighting. Just different verbs with similar structures.
I nod furiously.
But then, when you do find more, well, you cling to it.
She waves her hand dismissively and makes a derisive noise.
Oh, it's all very complicated. I doubt your tiny human brain could handle it, honestly.
I'm about to be a vampire brain, so, maybe I can handle it. I snort again. Maybe she's read my mind. I'd kind of like to understand, maybe if you let me. Valeria sighs deeply and takes my chin in her hand. I think it might be a habit of hers.
You ask a lot of me, little bird.
Okay, so I do have to ask about the abilities. Alright, well, let's do a save. I'm going to have to ask about her abilities in the next one. See where that goes. I thought I knew somewhat about her abilities, but I guess we're going to find a little bit more out here in her bedroom. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you're enjoying this playthrough of First Bite, and I will see you in the next video.